everyone, it's Pete here. Welcome to part 3 of my build guide to this, the Tamiya Wild Willy 2. So at the end of part 2 I got to the end of step 18, which meant I had the chassis together here. So step 19 onwards is all to do with painting the driver figure, young Willy here, and then the body shell, and putting all the bits together and painting everything and screwing it together and gluing it together. And there's lots of little bits to paint, so this is going to take absolutely ages. So let's get on with it. So I'm part of the way through the build process of this body shell, and there's a lot of little bits to paint on here, and still got to do the straps and everything on the driver figure. I've still got to sort of mask up his face here and then spray paint the helmet. From the fire extinguisher on the back, there was the nitrous bottle there. There's the spare wheel, so there's an awful lot of painting bits, and there's a lot of things like the wheel arches that I still need to do. So the fuel can here comes with a hollowed back, which I always think looks terrible when you have it on the back of the car there, and you can see into the hollow back. So you can see what I've done there is to fill it in with some filler, which is this stuff here, milliput. So that should look a bit better on the back there. What I might do is just fill in a bit at the side there, because you can just about see the gap at the side as well. Do with continuing the strap over the back there as well. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but I shall have a go. And that's going to be yellow with green around the bottom. It's quite a difficult little thing to paint this actually. Now I've made a bit of a mistake here, because what I've done, I've been gluing the parts together of the body and screwing them together. So I thought, well, none of this has got to come apart ever again. What I didn't realise was that this piece here, which contains the dashboard, actually lets you put in the steering column there. So what I've had to do is to sort of trim this and sort of glue that in place. And the problem is that it makes the driver figure much harder to put in, because normally you would just be able to sit in, but I've got to kind of hook his feet under the dashboard and kind of squeeze him in like that. And then what I'm going to have to do is kind of fiddle the steering wheel in and glue it. And the disadvantage being that if I ever need to get him out because it's broken or whatever, I'm going to have to sort of break the steering wheel off, but I can get round it anyway. But really you should leave this piece so that it can unscrew it, just in case you need to get the driver figure out. Also what I did was glue it together before I put the nut in the back there, which is what the spare wheel attaches to. So what I've had to do is sort of cut that rather untidily there and sort of poke the nut in there. But anyway, I've managed to get round these various errors that I've done, and like I say, there's a lot of painting still to do, so I will crack on with that. Okay, so I think I've painted as much of this as I'm going to. Made a few mistakes along the way, so as previously mentioned, because I've glued the dashboard bit on, it's going to be really difficult to get my Willy in. I might just get my Willy in and may never get it out again. And what else did I do? Oh, so the fuel cans I filled in the back. It's not that much of a mistake, but there's a line that goes around the can there, and I didn't continue it around the back, but I don't think you'll notice that. Hello Richie, you helping? Also, rather annoyingly, I've been through the whole box and I can't find the windscreen, and I have seen it and I thought I'll put that somewhere safe, and I can't find it anyway. So to that end, I've got a bit of plastic packaging and just cut it into the right shape for that, which you'll have to do until I find the other one, which I may never do. So with the windshield, they don't actually tell you to put the hook on. I don't know why, you just need a little bit of thread to thread that through there. So with the headlights here, I've used these headlight cover stickers from a Sand Scorcher, because obviously the headlights on a Wild Willy don't really look very realistic, because they're perfectly smooth and they don't sort of look like headlights, whereas these sort of more like sort of rally covers. I think if I'd have thought about this in the first place before I painted it, I might have done yellow paint around the edge and then maybe just had a silver border, but I think they look alright, and they sort of match the spotlights which are on the roll bars. Okay, so we just need to put all the bits together. So check it out, I'm pretty happy with that. Just test the shocks with the weight of the body on it. That's not bad. So the idea with this one was to build one very similar to the one that got destroyed in the fire of 2018. Made a few little differences, like with the lights there. I put a few more of the stickers onto this one, but essentially the same colour scheme with the yellow fuel can of the original Wild Willy. So in the instructions they go for a two-tone helmet, sort of white and red, and I thought the chances of me getting that with nice sharp lines without them bleeding into each other was pretty much zero. So I've gone for the all red. That's a bright red, so it's a little bit brighter than these gloves, but similar to what I had before. I don't think I've put the star and things like that on before, so I've gone for a few more stickers this time. So the one I had before was actually just the Wild Willy 2 body. I got all the parts separately and just put them all together, and they were on my GF01 4-wheel drive chassis. So the clips you're seeing at the start and the finish of the videos is actually the 4-wheel drive version. Now, although the Wild Willy 2 body shell and the original Wild Willy body that I had both got destroyed in the fire, the GF01 that I was using them on survived, and here it is. So it's fair to say this needs a bit of attention. Everything's a little bit loose on this, so this is going to be a little project for me, and I've got a whole new body shell to build up for this, and I've got some new wheels for it as well. But what I wanted to show you on this was the bumper, because I was mentioning earlier about the easily breakable bumper, and there's a few things you can do. Now on this one, what I've done, I've got the Wild Willy bumper, and what I've done is made a metal plate, and how this fixes on, there's actually a screw coming through from the back of the plate, and it screws in the front of the bumper, so there's no spring on this at all. And I've had to put sort of spacers in so that the metal plate bridges that kind of bump in the middle of the chassis there. But yeah, it does work really well, this, and I haven't broken it since I've had this one on. So the other thing you can do with the bumper is what I've done to my dump truck here, which is to use a lunchbox bumper, and there's a whole video about how to do that. And there's another video about the Kong head where I've done it in a very slightly different way. Now the WR-02 and the GF01 are basically the same size, and they can accept the same bodies. It's just a matter of changing the body posts around to suit. And what I might end up doing is to use the Wild Willy 2 body on the 4-wheel drive GF01 and the Jimny on the 2-wheel drive. But what I'm going to do is just sort of test them out and see what runs best on what chassis. So something I'd left until I'd sorted out the body shell was to put in the receiver and the ESC. Now I can see under there's plenty of space at the back. It's only further towards the middle there where the body rests on the chassis, but there's plenty of space at the back here. That's everything plugged in. I need to tidy up the wires with cable ties, but first I'm going to put a battery in and just check everything's working as it should do. Right, that's going forward, brake, backwards. One other thing I've done is put these foam blocks on the body post to stop the body rattling about, and it's just cut out from the packaging from the ESC. So with the aerial, there's a hole in the body there that should poke through what I've done. I just bent it over under there because these 2.4 GHz systems are usually alright with the aerial under the body. So with the body shell, you can get it right down to the bottom of it's there on the top of the chassis. So you just got to make sure you don't sandwich any of the wires in there while you're doing it. So now I've set the height of the body. It seems to be on the 3rd hole down at the front and on the 6th hole down at the back. So what I'm going to do is just trim the tops of the body posts off now. Okay, so that's a bit tidier, isn't it? Okay, I'll just quickly go over some of the colours I've used on this. So the helmet is that broad sunburst red, and then the gloves and boots are this Tamiya XF7, and the body was plastic primer. And I've also used that to prime the can. It's very difficult to get this yellow colour over the top of the green plastic, and the yellow colour is that TS16 spray. So things like the seat belt and the wheel arches are this Humbrol matte black. So the indicator set ended up being this Humbrol enamel paint gloss 18, because this Tamiya X6 didn't seem to be orange enough. So his face, I think I started off with this Tamiya XF15, but it was a bit pale, so I've ended up using again the Humbrol enamel paint. So the cable on the winch is that Tamiya XF16. The headlights were just a generic spray silver that I had. So the fire extinguisher is the Ford Sunburst red again. The nitrous bottle is TS10 French blue. The brown strap on the fuel can, there's that XF10. Spare wheel cover is this matte black spray. So as you can see, you need to get yourself quite a lot of paint to do this kit. Okay, so I'm calling that done. So all I need to do now is do a test drive, which I'll do on a separate video. But in the meantime, thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.